Welcome to episode 125, I believe, of Trek Live. In this week's episode, we're going to be talking about. Hold on. I always do this. In this week's episode, we're going to be talking. There we go. Sorry, there was an echo. It was screwing with me. The perks of doing a live podcast. In this week's episode, we're going to be drafting the ideal crew. How you doing this morning, Bill?
Doing well.
Yeah.
Definitely look forward to doing this. This is different for us. This is kind of inspired by, we had been talking about doing something like this in line with the NFL draft, which was this weekend. But football people, football fans,
Yeah.
we're always kind of looking for ways to incorporate like what's going on in the real world that we like, or we're interested in with Trek Live. And then Trek Legacy did a really, really cool version of this. They brought on a whole bunch of guests and had essentially a draft with a good handful of people. Jim from Enterprise Extra Trek Ranks was there. Trek Geeks were there. Jen from Snap Trek was there. So saw that, and that kind of like further validated that. I think this was a cool idea to do in our own way. Our version of it's a little different, as it should be. But definitely really looking forward to it. I think it's a cool way to think about. We've done like early on. I think one of our first episodes was like pick our what would our ideal crew look like, but we weren't drafting against each other.
No, it's gonna be a fun little spin on that. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a different way to attack that, and it was years ago at this point. As I think we both agree, as we like rewatch and get older and have different perspectives on things, these kinds of things are ever changing. Favorite characters, who we like the most, that all can shift by the day, let alone by the year. So, really looking forward to this. It's a different kind of thing that we've done before, exciting.
Before we jump into the draft and the topic of the week, how's your rewatch going?
It's going slowly but surely. We have Trek Legacy in the chat, by the way, which is awesome.
Welcome.
Honored to have them.
Yeah.
I watched Allegiance this week. So that's the next episode, TNG season 3. I think it's a good episode. I enjoyed it. I think it might be my favorite of the episodes that involve, like, we kind of actually talked about something similar with Turnabout Crew last week.
Yeah.
Kind of mutiny idea. Kind of trying to mutiny against the captain who's either possessed or compromised somehow.
Yeah.
Allegiance might be my favorite version of that. I like the way that Picard in this cloned version, this copied version, is, he's not quite as like mustache twirling as many of the other kind of versions of this.
Yeah.
He's just a little more confident, a little more socially comfortable, singing drinking songs at 10 Forward. It's clearly unusual, and it's clearly not him, but it takes a little longer for the crew to realize sort of what's happening, I think, in a more credible way. So I love that part of the episode. The captivity stuff is like fine, but it's nothing completely out of the ordinary.
Nothing to write home about, right?
Nothing to completely write home about. It's solid. It's well done. It's well acted. Patrick Stewart's great. There's some good guest stars in it. But it's not my favorite, particularly coming off of that sort of like historic run of Deja Q and Yesterday's Enterprise and Offspring, since the classic heavy hitters that really kind of foundational episodes for 24th century Star Trek in there.
That's
Allegiance is much more kind of nuts and bolts, like kind of.
Yeah, that's a great point, I think, because coming off the heels of such, like you said, historic episodes, I think it gets knocked. Maybe if it was in a different run of episodes, maybe it would be a little bit more stronger, but I think it's a solid episode for sure.
It's solid, yeah. There's nothing. Yeah. It's perfectly entertaining, and I can't say I didn't enjoy it. I always like it.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't call it a classic.
Yeah.
What about you? Now that you're
so
new territory.
Yeah, a lot of you guys know that I did finish TOS. I have moved on to Deep Space Nine, which I've been looking forward to for months. So I finally jumped into the first 2 episodes. I mean, technically it's 3, but the pilot is a 2-parter, so it's a little bit longer. Love the pilot. I think we're going to be talking about it next week, I believe.
Yeah, we're going to get further into
Deep Space Nine content.
Deep Space Nine.
So I'll keep it brief, but really strong start, I think, for Deep Space Nine. And I'm really excited to be back in Deep Space Nine because I've said this before, but I haven't seen it in probably 5 years, so it's really fresh for me. I don't remember a whole lot, so I'm really excited to go through Deep Space Nine.
Like I said before with you, because you're still at the point where these episodes aren't necessarily like, ingrained into your head.
Yeah.
like a lot of us who have watched them so many times over the years. You can really, but Deep Space Nine may be the most pure version of that because it's been so long. You've only seen it once. I think a lot of Star Trek fans who have been watching for many, many years growing up with it, I've heard many of them say they wish they could kind of go back and watch for the first time again and have that fresh perspective again, and not have the episodes sort of feel like background noise because you've seen them so many times. And, it's easy to kind of just passively watch them. So yeah, I'm really eager to hear your thoughts as you get through it with fresh eyes and having a good bit of distance from the first time you watched it. So you're familiar with it, you know the characters, you know like the basic story, you kind of know what to expect in a big picture sense, but the episodes themselves, in most cases, I think will be fresh. It's such a long time you've watched so much other Star Trek since. It's not even like this is your one track. You have all this other stuff in your head from more recent goes. So it's going to be interesting. I'm really looking forward to talking Deep Space Nine. We've kind of intentionally on Trek Live even kind of steered clear of Deep Space Nine stuff because of your distance from it and kind of wanting to save it for when you're in the heat of it. And so I think Deep Space Nine kinds of topics are coming on our kind of weekly show as you make your way through the show.
All right, should we get this draft started?
Yeah, I think
maybe explain the positions real quick.
Yeah, so because it's just you and me, the way we're going to kind of do it is we're going to go kind of deeper into the different positions. We're going to do 1 captain, 2 medical, 2 science, 2 engineering, 2 tactical, and a wild card. So that's 10 spots that we're going to alternate. We're going to flip a coin. I think Dan hopefully has a coin ready to figure out who goes first. We can pick whatever we want as far as we can go in any order we want. We don't have to go captain first and then medical or anything like that. We can bounce around and have a strategy to filling these spots. And we don't really have any rules as far as like who can go in what spot, right? Like you can kind of finagle it however you want, justify whatever you want.
Whatever's left on the board, let's say you want to go engineering first, get a higher pick with that, or if you want to stick with an early pick for science, if you want to save your tactical stuff for later in the draft to find a good steal. I think there's some strategy, but it doesn't necessarily have to be in order, right? You can save your captain pick for the last pick of the 10th pick, So.
And I think the other thing that kind of makes it interesting is there are obviously characters who fit cleanly in some of these categories. Like they're clearly medical kind of people, they're tactical people here, but there are other characters who are a little bit more nebulous. You can kind of go in a couple different directions with them. Maybe they could do multiple things. Whether they fit in the wild card, you can just put them there, and they can be anything. Or there are other characters who maybe have done more than one job over the course of a show or shows.
Yeah.
So there are different ways you could go, and I like the fact that we don't have hard and fast rules that we have to go by. I'm curious to kind of see how it goes, and just see where this takes us.
Yep.
We're gonna just go back and forth, and at the end, I think Dan's gonna try to put up a graphic, kind of summarizing what we have as we kind of wrap it up.
Mm-hmm.
But do you have anything you want to add, or do you want to flip a coin?
I think we flip a coin. I think maybe you go first. I guess.
Okay.
I mean, not go first. Call it.
Okay, I'll call it. You flip it.
Yeah.
And then we'll get started.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. I'll call tails. You're flipping it.
It is heads. There's.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys know this, but Google has a flip a coin like thing you could do. So that's what I'm doing. I don't actually have a coin, but I can share my screen and show you guys.
I trust you.
It is heads. So I will be going first.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe do. Should we have a time limit?
I know. I was gonna say.
Yeah.
How long do we give it?
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. Incorporate a clock if we need to.
Yeah. Okay. With my first pick of the Trek Live draft, I'm going with the Doctor for my first medical slot.
Okay.
Yes.
Why? What has him? I mean, that's a pretty bold move. That's your first pick.
I think that
He's Joe Burrow.
yes, he's probably my favorite Doctor. I guess this is just a little bit, maybe some insight into my my strategy here. I'm going for my favorites,
Okay.
and I think he's gonna be able to, at least later season Doctor. He's gonna be able to play well with the other his teammates / crewmen. So I'm trying to spin this a little bit.
Gotcha. I got you.
But yeah, I think favorite Doctor, really a great asset to any teams or / crew. So I think I'm going with the Doctor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So for my first pick, the second overall pick, I guess we could call it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Spock in science.
Okay.
Obviously, like he's the man, the myth, the legend. I feel. I guess I could come out and I could just say this. I think maybe science might have less thick pickings, than maybe some of the other categories. Yeah. And Spock is so clearly, I think, like maybe the headliner across all Star Trek, let alone in the science division.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he felt like a natural first pick for me.
Okay. Perfect. I guess go next. Third overall pick. I'm gonna go science as well. It's gonna be 7 of 9.
Okay.
I know these are technically 2 Voyager picks. Well, I guess now it's a Picard pick as well, because she is also in Star Trek Picard, which I didn't realize because she could have been maybe a wild card, but I'll save that for another choice. But I think she brings a lot to the science table. I think that I think she's a great pick.
So I will go with. I'll go with Trip Tucker in engineering.
Oh.
Yeah. Like you, I'm definitely kind of gravitating, and as expected, to favorites. Maybe characters that I want to hang out with, characters I want to be, associated with, and have to see every day. And we've talked in the past about different kinds of engineers. Trip having that like down and dirty, greasy, fix things with his hands. I think that's a useful trait to have. And good friend, loyal. He's got all those personal traits that you'd want to surround yourself with.
Yeah.
So yeah. So far 2 rounds in, we have some TOS, we have some Voyager, we have some Enterprise.
Yes.
A little bit of Picard too.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So my next pick, 5, I think, will be a tactical. I'm gonna go Lieutenant Worf as my tactical officer. First tactical officer.
I was toying, like I was between Trip and Worf, so.
Yeah. I was as well. I do I like Trip Tucker. He's probably he was definitely up there on my draft board as well. But I think Worf is a natural tactical officer that I feel really comfortable with in security and in tactical. So I think he's a great pick.
I think the big selling point with Worf too, to give you props, and the reason I had him so high on my board and ready to go with him, he's versatile. Like he's defined Deep Space Nine. He's strategic operations officer later in Deep Space Nine. He's got some command shops. He's in command of the Defiant very often. So you gotta like that versatility, that positional flexibility. That comes in handy whether you're talking about NFL defenses or Star Trek Bridge Crews. They're both helpful.
Yeah.
We have Danielle in the chat. Welcome back. Long time no see. So for me, round 3, I'll go medical, and I'll go with Dr. McCoy. As we discovered a couple weeks ago when we did our doctors episode, our clear cut, both of us, I think, 1 and 2 doctors are now off the board.
Yes, they are.
Dr. McCoy and the Doctor from Voyager. So your choice of the EMH so early on kind of maybe forced my hand a little bit to go grab the other sort of elite choice in that at that position.
Yeah, at the position. Yeah.
So.
No, that's a great pick.
Maybe the fact that I have 2 of the 3 from the original TOS triumvirate in my first 3 picks that says something about me as a, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
And you have 2 Voyagers out of your 3.
Yeah. So, what's that say about me? I'm gonna change that right now. I'm gonna go engineering. I'm gonna go with Scotty. From TOS, I guess we didn't really talk about Kelvin Timeline, but I think we just roll with it because I could do Kelvin Timeline Spock and still have him on my team.
You could do that. We didn't.
Did not.
That is allowed.
The reason why I went with Scotty, just the loyalty aspect, not just to his crew and his teammates, but also his ship. I think he really does care about his ship and doing great work. And especially with someone in the engine room, I really want someone who really cares about the ship and her crew / teammates. So had to get Scotty.
Who can blame you?
Yep.
I'm going to go for my round 4 choice. I'm going to go back to science.
Okay.
And I'm going to add Jadzia Dax.
Okay.
I think her obvious calling card for me is the breadth of her experience, having all those lifetimes to call back to.
Yep.
She's also got some positional flexibility. She is at the helm of the Defiant in many battle situations. So, if a need calls for somebody to step in and fly the ship through some challenging times and some emergency situations, I trust Jadzia Dax as much as anybody.
Yeah.
She's as good there as she is, plugging away at the science station, finding out what the heck's going on with this anomaly or that nebula or, that gravitational anomaly, whatever it is, whatever you come across, she's going to figure it out. And she's got all that, like I said, all those lifetimes of experience to call back to help you with your personal challenges too. That's from very often. So.
Yeah, that's a great pick. I think you said it, hit the nail on the head there. Just the experience factor. I think it's just gonna help crewmen / teammates around him. Her.
Sure.
So.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I will go with my next pick. I'm gonna stick with engineering again. I'm gonna go Chief O'Brien.
Okay.
There are some other engineers that were high on my board that I might have went with, but with the maybe the loss of Tripp, had to go a different route. I think Scotty and O'Brien really similar in their characters. They're really blue collar, I think, but they really do care about the ship. They can get their hands dirty, and I think they would work well together. I think there are some really similarities here. Obviously, both have really great experience with transporters, so I think it just makes for a great 1-2 punch, I think.
Cool.
Yeah.
Can't argue with that. Somebody to play darts with, too.
Yeah. Yep.
What are we on? Round 5. So we're at the halfway point here.
Yes.
I will go with... I'm going to go... Dundon, I don't know. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go with Tuvok at tactical.
Okay. Great pick.
think I'm curious to throw him in the mix with Spock. I'd be interested to see what those kinds of conversations are like. Two Vulcans on the bridge who are very different people. But I think you having taken Worf off the board, I think he's the next natural choice for the tactical position. Yeah, I feel good about it.
Okay. I don't know who to go with here.
It's definitely getting into a lot of the heavy hitters are gone at their clear positional spots. Like the ones that are clearly in, some of these positions are off the board.
I'll jump into science. I'm gonna go to Paul.
Okay.
I think this is kind of lining up a little bit like my engineering. I think she'll be a great addition to the science team. I think she will work well with 7 of 9. I think they both really have high standards, but they both have a really deep knowledge and understanding of the sciences. So I think that's just a great pick.
Yeah, I mean, can't argue with that.
Yeah.
Your science officers are 7 of 9 and T'Pol.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, there's a lot of experience there and a lot of good looks there too.
Yeah.
Interesting. So yeah, I'm gonna go with. I'll go with B'Elanna Torres in engineering.
Okay.
I feel like she's a heavy hitter at that spot. Having seen a lot in the Delta Quadrant and kind of being on an island, not having anybody to bounce ideas off of, all that Maquis ingenuity, all those old Maquis tricks are helpful to have in your back pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's outside the box thinker very often.
Yes.
Not always
very
constrained by Starfleet limitations.
Yeah.
And, not always boxed in by what the regulations say you have to do. I think it's an interesting combination in engineering for me with Tripp and B'Elanna. You have super early on, down and dirty, kind of inexperienced green Tripp. And B'Elanna who's not very by the book. Different kind of combination, I would think.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Feel good about it.
I think I'm gonna go with another tactical pick. So I have drafted Worf. So
Yep.
my second tactical pick is Kira. Um, I think she's got um, some really powerful, tactical skills, but not just tactical skills. I think she just brings a lot more to the position, other than just her tactical abilities. So, um, and she served with Worf, so she knows kind of how that can go. So I think she'll be a good fit there.
True. Yeah, I think yeah, her experience, like she's not a tactical officer like
No.
on Deep Space Nine, but her background is clearly one that would lend itself to
Mm-hmm.
you know
I was
that kind of
yeah,
yeah.
because she kind of fits the wild card.
She does. That's why I was
Yeah,
kind of
that's
waiting
why I
too.
was
Like
I was hesitant to go that route just because maybe she fits maybe better there, but
hmm
I'll put her tactical.
yeah, I'll be. You've
Yeah,
taken my two top picks for my wild, the two that I had set aside,
for
like that I
wild.
was going to jump on for wild cards. You snatched them.
Yeah.
So I'm left kind of wondering what I'm going to do there. Interesting. Okay.
Yep.
Um, I'm going to go. I'll fill my second medical spot with Dr. Crusher.
Okay.
I think she's a good yin and yang for McCoy. She's a little less curmudgeon-y, obviously, a little bit more
Yeah, you.
approachable for the simple things. I like. She feels like because she's the doctor of obviously the flagship, this gigantic, ship with a huge crew and a big medical staff.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like she'd be good at taking care of the administrative kind of end of things.
Yeah.
Organizing the logistics of, the medical staff. She feels like somebody having come from she's spent 8 years running Starfleet Medical. She's got that
Under her belt.
Under her belt.
Yeah.
So I think she's a key one to have.
I think
she brings a different element to the table than Dr. McCoy.
Yeah.
Have to.
I think that's a great kind of medical department there. You kind of got like this sweet and salty type of little dynamic going on.
Definitely.
Yep.
So we got 3 left. Neither one of us has picked a wild card or a captain, which I find interesting.
Yep. Okay. I'm gonna go with my second medical.
Okay.
So my first medical, I've picked the doctor. I think I'm gonna go with Phlox as my second medical. I think at least I know he has the knowledge. The doctor has the knowledge, but I think he's very, very by the book, very encyclopedia-esque. I think Phlox is a little bit on the other end of the spectrum, right? He's a little bit more of the alternative medicine, a little bit. So I think that those two, I think, could really have a very dynamic, style to them put together.
Yeah.
So
would they butt heads or would they like complement each other? That's the.
I don't know.
You wouldn't find out. It'd be like it's kind of like, is that kind of like putting Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love in the same quarterback room?
Yeah.
It's gonna go well. It's gonna go terrible.
Yeah.
Could go either way.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, I think that you've probably found the two. Like I feel like I went like yin and yang with my doctors, but you've gotten the more extreme version of that with.
Yeah.
I think the EMH and the Phlox bring sort of opposite approaches to medicine.
Yes.
For sure. Okay. I'm gonna fill my wild card.
Okay.
And to me, I've had I mean, like I said, you took the two that I was kind of eyeing up.
I think I know who you're going with.
Um, I have a couple different thoughts.
Yeah.
I'll go Data. I mean, that's
Okay.
definitely. I was torn between. Well, I'm not going to say. Maybe I'll say it at the end. But yeah, the wild card's a tricky one because it's a wild card. You can kind of do anything. You can pick somebody that's going to do something very specific that isn't like necessarily included in these job descriptions that we're already filling, or you can kind of go with somebody who's sort of a catch-all and can do whatever.
Yeah.
And Data's expertise is clearly vast and kind of unending. So if that's the approach you want to take, I feel like he's the choice. But I could make a case for other specific kind of duties that aren't included in what we've
yeah
kind of got scripted here with the jobs we're trying to fill.
Yeah.
But I'll go with Data for his
Okay.
versatility and flexibility and yeah.
Okay. I will fill my wild card as well. I'm gonna go with Riker.
Okay.
Yeah. I think at least when we were kind of discussing this, I think the wild card was could have been pointing towards that first officer type of role, and I think Riker has enough experience to really to be that kind of Swiss Army knife within the crew to be able to do anything that comes up. So I struggled with a few. I wanted to put a few different people in there.
Sure.
Maybe that we can talk about after we finish.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to my second tactical position.
Okay.
And I'm going to go a little off the beaten path and go a little maybe controversial. I'm going to pick Ash Tyler.
Woo!
I'm going to go with somebody with some of that Klingon insight.
Yeah.
That might come in
Klingon
handy.
on the bridge, yeah.
I don't have Worf. I have B'Elanna.
Yeah.
So I have a little Klingon in my midst. But Ash Tyler has some ties to Section 31. That might come in handy.
Yeah, that's true.
The Klingon background. As long as you trust him not to revert back to Vogue and try to snap your neck.
Yeah.
You might get something out of him. But I want to give Discovery some love, and I think he brings a different kind of element to that tactical kind of position with his sort of mixed background and and Section 31 insights as well.
Yeah.
So I was torn between Ash Tyler and Malcolm Reed.
Okay.
Malcolm Reed would have been a friend for Trip.
True.
But,
True.
So we both have done basically the same thing as we took the approach, and I think this is an insight maybe even into our fantasy football approaches too. I think we both are in the school of thought that tends to kind of wait for the quarterback a little bit, not necessarily jump right on that early. I know I tend to do that, and I kind of equated that personally with the captain.
Yeah.
Is that why was this an intentional choice for you?
I also was just kind of playing the market. I think that all the captains, whether it be Pike, you got to remember all the little or the 1 season or 2 season captains. But I think the crew doesn't make a team, and a lot of sports people know a quarterback doesn't make a team either. You got to have the core there. So I wanted to get the core, a very strong core to have to set up not just the captain for success, but the whole the crew for success. So that was my philosophy on that. But yeah, I definitely played into the fantasy realm as well a little bit for sure. Have it.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely kind of feel the same way. I feel like the captains, kind of like quarterbacks in fantasy football, for those who are so inclined to do that. It's a deep position. I don't know that there's much difference between maybe my first captain and my fourth captain.
Yeah.
And because we're only picking one, I felt good about. I know I'm getting a good one. What? So I kind of came in realizing that there's really no need to pick a captain first or early. I can kind of put that on the back burner and kind of feel out the kind of crew that I build, and maybe even take that into account a little bit. See if there are any rhymes or reasons to the crew I chose, and maybe choose the captain based on who's there in on the crew.
Mm-hmm.
But I also felt pretty confident that I would maybe get the one I want, or get one of the couple that I would be really thrilled to get. So yeah. I mean, who's your captain and why did you? Are you putting your crew taking your crew into account, or are you just?
I'm just. No, I think all the captains I think could really manage this crew really well. I think there's a great wide variety of characters and positions. So I think it didn't my pick didn't go into this captain would fit here or there. I think it just went into my favorite. Which I think is probably going to be the same for both of us. I don't know.
Sure.
Could be wrong.
Could be.
My last pick, I'm going to draft Kirk. James T.
Interesting. I could have never guessed.
You guys know a big Kirk guy, so I feel like I could have had that predicted pretty easily. You guys know me pretty well, but what can I say? I think Kirk is the perfect, really. He's analytical, but he also can go with his gut as well. That's what I'm trying to say. He's very balanced. I think he's really he's just very experienced, obviously, with dealing with multiple different situations. I think science, tactical, engineering stuff. So I think he'd make for a great captain in this crew.
I think hard to argue with that. I think it's. I'll just say I'm going to pick Picard. Shocker. Who anybody who knows me well would know I would do. But I find it interesting that I have McCoy and Spock, but you have Kirk. So I didn't.
Do you think he won't be as Kirk? Yeah.
That's the thing. I don't know.
And he has there's a Klingon on the bridge as well. He's not big on Klingon, so
we'll see. Get along with Worf.
Yeah, we'll see.
He's got Scotty on your crew.
Mm-hmm.
He's got Riker to deal with, which kind of would make for an interesting dynamic. You got two guys at the top who have some similar traits. But yeah, I mean, I think seeing Kirk outside of the trio with Spock and McCoy on a different ship, makes for some interesting food for thought. Kirk with Seven and Paul at science, interesting.
Hey.
Yeah, and then for me, I have the two parts of that trio with Picard. Like, how does Picard capitalize on the Spock McCoy duo?
Yeah.
Picard's got Crusher on my crew to kind of
lean on
and have it as a trusted confidant. He's got Data, obviously.
Yeah.
So, and that definitely played into my choice for Data. To be honest.
Yeah.
I figured I'm going to get Picard. So, when I was down to the two wild cards that I wanted, that I kind of had at the top of my list for the wild card were Seven and Kira, because I feel like both of them you could kind of do anything with. They have specific traits, but they have some positional flexibility too at the same time. So I once you took the two of them, I kind of defaulted to Data because of knowing I would have Picard to kind of play off of.
Is there some hard choices? Is there some choices that were close for you, but you went with another direction?
Yeah, when I went second round, I was torn between um, Trip and Worf. Like I think I mentioned that.
Yeah.
You took Worf right away, so we were both kind of on the Worf train for sure. For early on, that was a tough one.
Yeah, I'll say a tough one for me what was the Wild. I was thinking about going with Tom Paris, just because he has the the helmsman kind of experience, but he also has some medical experience too that I think that could fall into him being able to obviously work through some medical stuff, but also some sciencey stuff too. So I think he's got that really like kind of well-rounded kind of experience. But I was hesitant because I was trying to get a balance. I didn't want to give too much Voyager and so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's I find myself often kind of when we do topics like this, or when I go on shows like Shrek Ranks, which I've guested on a couple of times. I do tend to default to a position where I want to kind of spread the wealth a little bit.
Yeah.
With different shows, I try to avoid focusing too much on one of the shows or two of the shows. I like to try to have representation from as many as possible.
Yeah.
Which I'd be lying if I said it didn't play into my choice. Maybe that was a kind of tiebreaker down to that last spot that I kind of waited on.
Yeah.
Kind of between Reed and Tyler. I felt like I maybe wanted to, third Discovery. A little shout out. In a tight race, like if it was a clear, I wouldn't have picked Ash Tyler over probably any other tactical officer. And it's no disrespect to Malcolm Reed. I love Malcolm Reed.
Yeah.
But in a close call, I tended to go with an underrepresented show on my crew, at least, as a tiebreaker.
Yeah.
How early, was it an easy choice for you to go with the Doctor first? Was that?
It was. I hate being the number one pick. I just didn't know what. I tried to stick with a pick that I was less confident about, because I know that there was a lot more on the board at that time, so I wanted to get that. Because I think the medical and sciences, I think where I was less confident about. But yeah, that's kind of why I went with the Doctor. Yeah, I picked
That's why I went with Spock too.
Yeah,
that a little less deep of a bench, I think. Where engineering, I felt like there were we're going 2 each. I feel like I was gonna get 2 of the 4 that were gonna go. Were gonna be really good, and they're all really good. No disrespect to any of these characters, of course, but science and medical had characters that I felt more passionate about wanting, maybe as opposed to some others. So I gravitated there early. Yeah, I think there are a lot of different ways we could do this. I know, just real quick, speaking for Legacy Trek, who partially kind of inspired this idea, kind of got there first and did a really cool version of this. They're going to do more episodes with different sorts of. They kind of in their first go round with this, we're aiming to fill crews designed to be on exploratory missions. And
gotcha.
you could definitely go with different sort of versions with more specific.
Which I think we've done actually.
Aims. We've done similar kinds of things like that in the past. We've talked about what kind of getting specific with what kind of mission you're going to be on and populating a ship with characters that fit that mission. We've been down that road, but that would definitely skew these choices. I think if we were populating the Defiant during wartime, against the Dominion.
Yeah, we would have
that would
different picks. Yeah,
for sure. That would lead to different kinds of choices. Or if you're going to be, on a far out science mission, studying, strange new worlds and new civilizations in the far reaches someplace. That's very different than a tactical kind of wartime footing. So there are all kinds of different spins you could put on this to um, you know, go down a different road and have completely different looking crews. There are definitely characters that I might not have chosen under different, more specific circumstances. And for our go around with this, we kind of left it pretty general and more like, hey, what would you want to? And my kind of way of thinking about it and my approach was very similar to yours. You kind of said at the very beginning, who would you want to, like, personal favorites, and like who would you want to hang around and be around and serve with was kind of my primary focus with picking these characters.
Yeah.
Particularly the early on ones.
Yeah, early on, a pick that really threw me off, which I was planning on picking, was you took Trip. I was really wanting to go with Trip as part of the engineering team. I think I was trying to maybe pair him with one of the two, Scotty or O'Brien, because I think he really fits that kind of mold. So that was a tough. It threw a wrench in my draft strategy for sure. But
good, I'm glad.
Speaking of engineering, who was your second?
Who was my second engineer?
Yeah.
Balana.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah. No, Trip was an easy one for me. He was high up on my board. He was going to go early for me. The older I get, the more perspective I get on Star Trek, and more times I go back to it, Trip kind of goes up and up and up on my completely subjective, personal favorite characters. I love him. He's high up on my list.
Were there some? I think I already asked you this. Were there some close calls for you? Any other close calls?
I was torn between my second science spot. I went Dax, and I could have gone to Paul. That was a tight one for me. I felt like because I had Spock. Dax brings a different element into Paul. I didn't necessarily feel like I needed two Vulcans in the science position, but I went in thinking it would be nice to have to Paul.
Yeah.
She was somebody that I had targeted, but the way the board fell, to use NFL parlance, it just didn't make sense to double up there. But Dax to Paul was something I gave some thought to. McCoy was a pretty easy choice. Tuvok at tactical. Tactical's a tough one. You know, if you think about, there aren't that many like specifically like tactical officers. You have Worf, obviously. You have Tuvok, obviously, and then you have Reed. And then you get into, you know, in the movies, it's never really totally defined, but Chekhov is kind of the weapons officer, security chief. You never really see him conducting those duties very much.
But Sulu has the
phasers
and the hand-to-hand kind of training.
He does. So you can kind of go either way there.
Tough.
Yeah, you could go there either way. In Deep Space Nine, the security chief is Odo, but he's not really a tactical guy.
No, he's not.
You know, you're not gonna if you have somebody kill somebody on your ship. You know, you want Odo to try to solve that problem. And bless you.
Allergies. Don't freak out anyone.
Yeah, Odo's a unique animal in the sense that he's very specific to security, but not necessarily tactical. So he's one that I would have loved to have had. And I toyed with him even in Wild Card, but I feel like Odo, unlike some of these other choices, is very specific. Like you're picking him for a very specific purpose. He's got one job. He's going to do that one job. He's not going to do much else. And I tended to gravitate more toward the characters, the players with a little bit more positional flexibility and have a little bit more versatility at their disposal.
Yeah, which I mean that goes into tactical, I think, but I think he would be more of maybe a second or third kind of tactical position. Yeah. So.
Yeah, agreed.
Almost done with the.
Potentially. Yeah. No, that's fine. Take your time. So yeah, Odo was a character that I would have liked to have figured out a way to get included, but I never did. I mean, it just didn't come together. But the other characters, people like the other kind of wild card possibility that I kind of weighed. Odo was in that conversation, but again, very specific duty. Deanna Troy, like having a counselor, somebody
true.
for emotional support. I gave her a lot of. I almost pulled the trigger and went with Deanna as like kind of a very specific but needed, I think, element. You know, even Neelix kind of along those same lines, like somebody who is concerned with the crew's morale and their mental health. I think that's an increasingly critical job. I think Gene Roddenberry was actually kind of ahead of his time in TNG with putting a counselor on the bridge and having a high up officer concerned with mental health and the crew's mental well-being. I think back in the day, and even in recent years, I think you see a lot of really a counselor on the bridge. Is that really necessary? I think it kind of is. As time has gone on, I think it's proven more important. But I went with Data, like I said, because I felt like for the wild card, my gut kept saying go with somebody versatile, go with somebody who is more of a catch-all as opposed to a specific niche kind of a job that nobody else can fill, like Deanna or Neelix or Odo, more one-dimensional, elite kinds of characters in that specific job. Very specific job.
Now that I think about it, I think Burnham would have made a really good wild card / first officer, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Because I think she does kind of fall into that category, right? She does have. I mean, technically, I think she's a science officer, but she also has, just tactical, engineering prowess. I think she's got everything. So.
Yeah, she got the Vulcan Science Academy.
Yeah, training and
like kind of background. Like she didn't go to the Vulcan Science Academy, but she has that Vulcan education.
Yeah.
Growing up on Vulcan, kind of intellect. And like you said, she's got the Vulcan martial arts down, so she can hold her own in a fight in a tactical kind of situation. So she got a lot of consideration for me too. I definitely thought about her as a wild card. She was more in the Data camp as far as like go with somebody versatile and flexible, as opposed to a specific kind of duty.
Right. So I threw up.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I threw up the. I think I got them all right. I hope. So you guys can check that out. Those were our draft picks. For this round, this was just for a basic crew loadout, just for normal 7-year mission type deal. Not really specific, really in any way. But maybe in the future we do something a little bit different. Try to change the parameters a little bit.
Yeah, we can. I mean, like always, like many of our. We have a pretty big bench of topics that we tend to go back to and put different spins on. I think this is something we could definitely see ourselves trying again with, like you said, different parameters, more specific aims. But I thought it was fun. Different way of approaching characters that we love and the crew idea.
Sorry, real quick. Just going back to the list. The stuff that was tough for me was characters that were kind of in ops positions or helmsman positions. Like, where do we put those? Where do we put Harry Kim? Is he tactical? Is he engineering? Is he? Where do we put Mayweather?
Sure.
Those types of characters were definitely tough to kind of nail down and kind of put into a box. So I think that's what made maybe the wild card position a little bit tough to kind of nail down. Maybe in the future we put 2 wilds, just because I think there's a good bench of those types of characters in Star Trek that are, like you said, kind of hard to nail down and put into
I agree.
Specific category. Yeah.
The helmsman group is pretty deep with some good options. And like you said, ops is an unusual. Like you have Data, you have Harry Kim, who they have like sort of a footing in engineering. They sort of have a footing in science. They sort of have a footing in tactical. Like they it's kind of a touch-all kind of position. So that kind of lends itself to you could justify them anywhere or in a wild card position.
Yeah.
So they're challenging ones to fit. I think we could have gone with a helmsman too. If we would have had somebody at the helm.
Tom Paris type,
characters, Travis. Even then you can pick Dax there.
Yeah, that's true.
Have the helm of the Defiance.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's all kinds of ways you could do it. You could go with non-series regular characters if you wanted to go.
Yeah.
Then that can include one-offs. That can include people like Nog, who later on is very much involved with like bridge crew kinds of duties, but isn't a series regular.
No.
So yeah, there's all kinds of different ways you could modify this idea the way Trek Legacy is going to do too, to bring in different kinds of characters and shape this whole thing a little differently. But this is a good exercise, I think, to go general first and
yes.
It's like I said, we did pick our favorite crew without the draft idea way back. I think it was like episode 5 or 6 a few years ago, and this kind of is a similar kind of topic, but with a few more years of perspective and context and rewatches under our belts. It's a different way to go about it. So, I'm glad we did it. I'm glad that we did it in line with the NFL draft. I'm glad Trek Legacy kind of set the tone with their great episode that everybody should check out.
Yeah, I think we should just skip our Trek content and just go, Trek Legacy.
Go listen to that.
Yeah.
Especially if you like Trek Geeks, if you like Trek Ranks, if you like Snap Trek, if you like Trek Legacy, all these shows. I'm sure I'm missing somebody off the top of my head.
Yeah.
If you like football, all these things kind of merge together into this behemoth of an episode of a Star Trek podcast. Like I said, it's one of my favorite listens in quite a while because of the personalities involved, creativity, the idea. Great time. So it is the clear-cut Trek content to point people toward, in my mind, given what we just did, and that's a show that we haven't really highlighted up till now, but very deserving of point in their direction.
Yeah. We are right at the hour mark, so I think we're going to call it here. You guys know the drill. Sure. The discussion does not have to stop here. Facebook, Discord, Twitter, obviously where we are right now. The replay of this will stay on my timeline, obviously, but it will kind of go away as I tweet and stuff, so it will be on the YouTube channel. Remember that. If you guys want to watch the whole thing, definitely check out the YouTube channel. It will be up this week to be able to watch after the fact.
And real quick, if you're watching us through Twitter, you can participate. If you click into the live stream on the tweet and watch through Periscope, which you can log into as long as you have a Twitter account. You can log in through your Twitter account. That gives you the opportunity to comment. We had Trek Legacy in the room. We had Danielle, who's a friend of the show, in the room as well today. And last week we had Rob and Jared Hitchcock.
Usual suspects.
Some usual suspects. But you have the ability, just like you did in YouTube, over on YouTube when we were live streaming there, to comment and participate in the conversation. You just need a Twitter account, and you need to open the live stream through Twitter and log into Periscope through your Twitter. Very easy, just a couple clicks, and you have the means to help drive our conversation by participating and commenting, giving us things to talk about other than what we bring to the table.
Because that's our goal here at Trek Live, is to have you guys help drive the conversation and engage with you guys as well, not just Bill and I. That's what we're looking for. So
yeah, that's the benefit of doing it live, to have the opportunity for other people to join in and contribute, and maybe the conversation goes in a direction that we didn't intend, just like the way it does if you have a real conversation with people. It's helpful to us for people to do that. So if you're watching us and you want to contribute and you want to be a participant, please feel free, and we encourage everybody and anybody to to do that and join the conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, that's been episode 124. We'll see you guys next week. 125, I believe.